This story's told in song. Follow the bouncing ball, the rise of something special, the decimation fall, the end of nothing much in the whole of it all. End of nothing much in the whole of it all. It's hard to run away from what is in your head at night. You around, squeezing ever tight. My thoughts are barely there. My heart is on the floor. Please do not disturb me. Don't see the light. I am so unnerved. I beg you, sir, please do not disturb. This story's told in song. Follow the bouncing ball, of something special, the decimation fall, the end of nothing much in the whole of it all, the end of nothing much in the whole of it all.
And a pleasant good morning to everyone. We have a very special guest this morning with us here in our studios, Miss Anna Rudolph, a writer, composer, singer. And I just want to read this to you. 6 years ago, Anna wrote her first song, picked up her guitar, not played for over 3 decades, and started trying to play and sing. Her songwriting continued, and during the first year, she recorded several songs at the suggestion of a friend. One of these songs was the finalist in the New Mexico Music Awards singer-songwriter category. And now, since then, she's written over 150 songs. She quit, the count has since been abandoned, as she puts. And Anna has recorded 3 CDs, been nominated 8 times for a New Mexico Music Award, and last year won the Best Adult Contemporary Song. This year, her music was accepted for play on Women of Substance Radio podcast and Art of the Song Standing O project. So welcome, Anna. We appreciate you being here this morning.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me here.
Well, Anna, first of all, that was a beautiful song. It was called Please Do Not Disturb, and that is from your most recent album called Darkest Angel, correct?
Correct, yeah.
And let's just indicate or let the people know of one of the things you're here for is to talk about your program coming up this Saturday, and it's going to be the next 3 Saturdays at the Placitas Community Library right there on Highway 165. And we want to let everybody know that from 2 to 4 p.m. you can go over there, and Anna is going to show you how she got started again and how to write songs. And so, Anna, give us a little background on this workshop and what it's all about.
Well, I had this crazy idea that I wanted to do a workshop, which I think when I told my husband about it, he just laughed because he's like, how are you going to tell people about your process? Because my process is not an intentional one. It's just, the muse says, here's a song, and I write it down. So I feel like I'm really just a scribe in all of this. So I saw his point when he was laughing, but I felt like over the years I had picked up some other creative kind of thoughts about how to write, and then how to edit your songs and how to put things together. So, and I hadn't seen any workshops like this in this area in Albuquerque, or certainly not in Placitas, and we're a very music-rich community.
Yes.
So I just thought I would try to do that. And
so how did you get into songwriting? I mean, you 3 decades you hadn't done anything, and you and I were talking before we got on the air how many people seem to do that. They've had an interest way back in life when they were younger and dropped it, completely forgot about it, and then suddenly tried to come back later in life and do it.
Yeah, I played the guitar and the piano when I was a kid and when I was a teenager, but truthfully, on the guitar, it wasn't all that good, and I never aspired to write music or songs or anything like that. So it wasn't like I've been trying for 3 decades and I finally wrote a song or something. But it kind of came out of the blue. I was 59 at the time, and I had been on a music cruise, and I was on a plane on the way back home, and I had a little cocktail napkin in front of me, and I had a pen out because I was doing the crossword, and I just wrote. It's really weird. I don't know how to explain it. I just wrote a song on the napkin, and then I got home, and I'm like, well, I should try to play this because I've never written a song before. And so I got the guitar out of the closet, and I played the song, and then a couple weeks later I got another song, and then about every 2 weeks I was getting another song. So after a while they started accumulating.
So when you say you got a song, is this just you were inspired by some event per se, or it just sort of came to you out of the clear blue?
It's kind of out of the clear blue. I've given it a lot of thought and discussed it with a lot of people about where does this kind of, and I don't want to call it channeling, but for lack of a better word, I just get a song, and for the first couple of years I wouldn't even remember writing the song. So I just for some reason I'd have an urge to pick up a pencil and paper, and I would write a song, and then I would go back later and go, oh, I wrote a song and here's what it's about. And so there didn't seem to be anything consciously that triggered me to. I mean, I never intentionally sat down and wrote a song.
Well, I mean, you hear people say that they saw a scene or saw an event or whatever, and all of a sudden here's a song.
Right.
Of course, I really do admire any of you who, especially when you hear these studio artists who come in and the people there hired them, the record companies hired them and say, you have to write a song today. How in the heck you can do that? It's beyond me.
I don't know. That's not really what I'm going to be teaching.
Well, no, but I'm just saying that's what
Right.
many stories you've heard
Yes.
the artists talk about how the pressure was on. They had to
Right.
get in and write a song even though nothing was coming to mind.
Right.
So anyway,
Yeah.
well, now, so who would benefit from this kind of a workshop?
Well, it's been interesting. Some of the people that have signed up or called me to talk about it. Some people are just interested in the lyric portion of songwriting, and maybe they've written little songs, but they don't play an instrument. So for them, I've kind of found this app that you can use that will put chords to your. If you know chords to use,
Right.
then you can kind of put chords to whatever lyrics you're writing. So I think we have a poet signed up to come to the class, and
I happen to know who that is.
and then there's some other just singer-songwriter people. And so the class was really intended for just anybody. One, if you just wanted to know what the process was, or if you're just a lyricist, or you want to learn to write lyrics. Maybe you play music, but you're not good with lyrics, or vice versa. Maybe you write some lyrics, but you don't know what to do in terms of how do you put that with some chords, or how do you phrase it right. So
okay,
wide open.
Now, how many people? I think you already have a dozen or so people signed up.
Yeah.
What is sort of a maximum number that would be best? I mean, you don't want 50 people. That'd be pretty hard to show 50 people.
Right.
What is the limitations on the crowd you might think of? Because we still want people to sign up if you've got some space there to do that.
Right. I figure we do have about a dozen signed up or that have expressed interest. So some people haven't really formally made reservations. Yeah. So, and I'm figuring, 2 or 3 people probably won't show up.
Sure.
So I think we could probably add another 2 or 3 people to the list.
Now, do they need to attend all 3 sessions, all 3 Saturdays, or can they get a little segment of what they need in any one of the 3?
Right. I'm hoping that people do attend all 3. I think it'd be more fun, but absolutely, you can just come to one session. Just to let people know, the first session is probably going to be more lyrics based, and the second session will be more sort of the. Not that it's going to be music theory at all, because I don't even know that. But
I remember those classes from back when I was in junior high.
Yeah, but it'll be a little bit more putting it all together. And then the third class is just going to be a performance class. So if anybody has put anything together during the course of a couple of weeks, or even if they just want to recite something, if they aren't a musician, then that would be great too. If I guess if nobody wants to come up with anything, which is entirely voluntary, I'm trying to make this a totally no pressure class. Then I get to try to play for 2 hours.
Okay. You made an interesting comment a minute ago. I want to go back to talking about the people who might be great at writing lyrics but have actually no musical background. And you said something about apps are available where they can get musical chords and backgrounds that they can use?
Yeah. Actually, somebody who lives out here in Placitas, I've spoken with, because he's kind of a lyricist. He was telling me that he had gone online looking for songwriting apps. Because he's not musical, but he writes lyrics, so he wanted to connect with a musician that could help him. And his style of music wasn't really what I play. So he was telling me he had gone online and found a couple of apps that he thought might be helpful. So not wanting to come to the class empty-handed like that, I went online and found an app that I thought might be pretty helpful. All you have to do is press a key and it starts playing this chord for you over and over, and so you can make it however many measures you want to make it, and then you can press another like an F chord, and then it switches to an F chord, and you're able to kind of
what is that app? Do you know? Do you remember off the top of your head?
I think it's called Chordbot.
I'll write that down so we remember to talk about that.
Yeah, if that's not correct, I'll get you the right one before I leave.
That's fine, because I think of myself too. I was a musician, but again, it's been 40, 50 years since I've played an instrument. But I always thought sometimes I write some things and I think, how do I get the right music behind it? And that's an interesting idea. Well, folks, I again want to remind you we're talking with Anna Rudolph, who is going to be at the Placitas Community Library this Saturday from 2 to 4 p.m. and then the following 2 Saturdays, conducting a songwriting workshop. And she started a second career, I guess you might call her, a late life career, either way you want to do it, call it. And lots of people do things. I've read many stories over my life about people who, once they basically ended their other lifelong career of supporting themselves, suddenly jumped into something they loved but had never done. And I think that's very remarkable that you have jumped in and been so successful, obviously, with, 4 CDs now and 100?
Three.
Three CDs and 150 songs. And now, are these available around the country? Anybody can buy them? Okay. What sources can people get your albums from, or your CDs?
Well, I encourage people to go to cdbaby.com because that's totally selfish. Because I get the most money back from CD Baby.
That's all part of the real world. Entrepreneurship 101.
But other than that, I think you can get them on Amazon and iTunes and any place basically you want to go that's selling music. So.
And do you perform around locally?
I do. I'm not performing anywhere. Well, actually, in April, I may be performing at a place in town. It may be kind of a regular thing. I don't know yet, but I haven't set up anything right now because I've had laryngitis for a couple of months, and so it kind of puts a dent
that makes it a little tough. It makes it real tough. And so, how do you describe, or what kind of music do you say you write? What's your style of music? I mean, we just listened, and we'll listen to another one in a little bit. But.
Yeah, it's that's one of the things that's hardest for me because when you do a CD, they want you to characterize what kind of music it is, and so you have to put it into a specific genre. And so I guess if I was going to have a broad genre, it would be Americana. But a lot of my things are kind of bluesy, and then sometimes I write some straight up blues. Another sort of large category for all that stuff is singer-songwriter. So I'll claim that.
Well, we have several DJs here that are very much into the bluesies. I think you mentioned Wayne Rohr, and I know he gets into that kind of music very heavily. And several of our people here are musicians themselves, and jazz and the blues and all of that. So now let's talk about your album here, your CD, Darkest Angel. Tell us a little more about that.
It's a 5-song EP, so extended play. It's not a full CD. I recorded it last, I think, October, November, and I have a new producer on that album. It's Larry Mitchell, who's a Grammy Award-winning guitarist and producer, and Larry has a portable studio, so he actually just came over to our house and stayed with us for about 9-10 days.
Wow.
And we recorded that album in my little music room.
Oh, okay.
So very different kind of process for me. And my 2 previous CDs were with somebody else, and I was trying to get away from the larger production sound and trying to get something a little bit more raw, a little bit more honest sounding, and I think that this CD came away doing that. It has some songs that are a little bluesy on it, and then some Americana on it. So
okay, we're going to take a break here. We've got to identify ourselves, and we'll be right back with Anna. You are listening to KUPR Low Power Radio, Placitas, New Mexico, a community-based radio station at 99.9 FM or streaming at KUPR.org. KUPR is owned by the Las Placitas Association and broadcasting from the offices of the San Antonio de las Huertas Land Grant. Located in the heart of the Land of Enchantment, follow us on Facebook at KUPR Radio or Twitter, KUPR FM at 99_9. And we are here with Anna Rudolph of the Placitas area, and she is a singer-songwriter and musician, and she is going to be conducting a workshop program, this Saturday and the following 2 Saturdays at the Placitas Community Library there on Highway 165 near the fire station from 2 to 4 p.m. on how to write songs. And she jumped back into this in her later career, after her regular career in later life, and so what can we, let's wrap her up today, and what would you like to leave with the folks? Feel free to contact me through my website. It's Anna Rudolph, RUDOLPH.com. I'm also on Facebook under Anna Rudolph Band Musician. So feel free to contact me. Feel free to drop by the workshop and see what's going on. Okay, and Anna, we'll play one more song of yours if you would like to introduce it. Sure. This song is off of the CD Darkest Angel, and it's called Maybe in Montana. Thank you so much for being here, Anna, and we'll look forward to you this weekend.
Oh, thanks so much, Dave. I appreciate it.